Now let's have a look at Sydney and the West Coast Eagles. They're playing at the Sydney Cricket Ground on Saturday night. And Mark, you can do Sydney, and I'll put you on notice you're going to do West Coast in a minute, Simon.
Yes, and into the side, they've only made one change after their 1 point win against us last week. Into the side comes Matthews, and also out of the side goes Chapman. So they've stuck with basically the same side as last week.
It's been a winning sign, hasn't it, up in Sydney? Happy. They just can't do anything wrong up in Sydney.
And they're playing there again, they're playing West Coast. And what about the form of Lewis? Hasn't he really come of age, really? And
very
also, Ruse, he amazes me. He's 33 years of age and still playing very well.
Well, no one picks him up. He keeps running around all by himself.
Opposition sides can't work out their game plan and how Paul Ruse gets on himself. And one day they'll get it, but it might be all too late. And also, Lockett, also at full forward, going to be a lot fitter, and he will do a bit more damage this week, you would think. And Bays, the player that came on in that last quarter.
Very dangerous last quarter, wasn't it? Tremendous game from him.
Wade Chapman, incidentally, out of that side with an ankle injury.
Yes.
Let's have a look at the West Coast Eagles. Simon, there are two changes. Tell us about them.
Well, into the side comes young Cousins and Lovell, so that's interesting. A couple of little fellas out for Djakovic, who's of course injured, and Wipunda, who's a young fella who's developing. He probably hasn't shown the promise or the expectation, but he's a youngster and he's got a lot to learn, but they've put him in a few games to develop him, I think. A pretty good game last week from West Coast, and Sumich at full forward actually looking the part last week. I know he's been up and down in their side and in and out of the side. He's actually been playing centre-half back in the waffle for the last few weeks before he came into it, but he's probably maybe learnt a little bit of backline playing.
Simon, did you see Gardner, their named centre-half forward play there last week? About 6'6".
Actually, when his first couple of touches I saw, he looks a bit gangly, and then after that he started to move very, very well for a big fella. He must be close to 6'8", I'd say. He's a very, very tall guy, but he's really had a lot of movement, a lot of just... He moves like a really good footballer. I'm very impressed with it.
And that was only his second game of footy last week.
Yeah.
So, number one draft pick.
Well, was he number one draft pick?
Number one draft pick, yeah.
And Heady starting to come into some good form as well.
So they've had an up and down season, but last week, back at home, they really looked the goods again.
Who do you think might win out of Sydney and West Coast?
Well, you've got to go with the record in Sydney, and probably the ground conditions won't suit the West Coast Eagles, so you probably think that Sydney would win this game.
Yeah, and Sydney's, funnily enough, Sydney's team suits the Sydney Cricket Ground better than any other team as part of it being their home ground.
And their game plan.
Their game plan, and that's where Lewis fits in very well there. You'd have to go Sydney, but every game they win up there is one closer to losing the next one, isn't it?
I've been consoling myself about that, given that Geelong have to play there in the last round of the season. They're getting closer. And we're going to have a break, and when we come back, we'll have the rest of the teams.